5 days ago, Anthropic quietly shipped something that if you run a small business, you should know about at the end of this video. It's not a new model, it's not a new chatbot. It's a full operating layer built specifically for the way small businesses actually work. And the wild thing, it costs nothing extra on top of what you're already paying. Let me show you. Hello, I'm Abby. I'm your AI automation specialist that helps your business generate revenue while improving efficiency. Let's go. On May 13th, Anthropic announced Claude for small business. And here is what is in the box. First, you have 15 ready to run agentic workflows. These are full multi-step jobs that Claude can run for you. Think about payroll planning, month-end close, business pulse reporting, full campaign creation. So you don't need to write the prompt. It's already created for you. And that's what you can see here. Then the second is that you now have 15 reusable skills. So things like invoice chaser, margin analyzer, content strategist, contract reviewer, tax season organizer, plus many more. So you can use them on their own or you can chain them together to get like a full system of workflows. Then there are three connectors as well. So they have direct integration now with the likes of QuickBooks, PayPal, HubSpot, Canva, DocuSign, Google Workspace, Microsoft 365. These are places where businesses actually live, as well as Slack. All of this run inside Cowork, which is Anthropic's product for knowledge workers. I have a video on that already just to show you some of the things that you can do in Cowork. You can always check that out. And the most beautiful part is that there is no extra charge for any of this beyond your existing Claude subscription. Now, I want to be honest with you about why I think this is a big deal because I've been building with Claude all the while and I'm not easy to impress. So before now, let's say before Cowork, before Claude Code and the rest, if you wanted Claude to chase an invoice for you, you would have to do three things. So first, you'd write a prompt to tell Claude how to chase the invoice. And then you would manually export your data from, let's say, QuickBooks or Zero, one of those. And then you would manually now paste the responses back into QuickBooks when Claude has finished thinking for you. It worked, but there was friction at every step. So most business owners will set this up once and then get distracted or tired of it and never use it. But here is what has changed. So this was the old way where you would prompt and then you would export, you would import, you would paste, and then tomorrow you repeat that cycle again. The new way, the workflow is now pre-built. Now, once QuickBook pulls the live data and then the workflow drafts the chase email, you would look at it, approve, and then the workflow sends the chase email directly. So the entire job goes from you having to do all that spray and pray to you clicking and then reviewing and approving. And that's the difference between a tool that just exists and one that actually gets used. Now, let me tell you who this is built for because the marketing makes it sound like it is for every small business owner, and that's not quite right. This is for operators who already use one or more of the 8 connector tools. So if your business runs on QuickBooks, HubSpot, Google Workspace, or Microsoft 365, you will get value from day one. It's for founders who are still the bottlenecks, the sole consultants, coaches with one VA, small agency owners, anyone who looks at their week and goes, oh, I'm doing 12 admin tasks that have nothing to do with the actual work my client pays me for. Those are the ones this will work for. It's not for enterprise with a full up steam, and it's not for total beginners who have never used Claude. You still need a baseline understanding of how to prompt it. So, for the first time, a one person consulting firm and a 10,000 person enterprise can run their back office on roughly the same intelligence layer. So that labor gap has closed with this. For you to actually set this up, you have to come into your Claude desktop app and then click on co-work, just like I've shown you before in previous videos. Then you click on customize. Once you click on customize, it brings you here, and then you click on browse plugin. Once you click on browse plugin, you scroll to the very bottom, and then you see small business. Here is where you would now click on the plus button here. Once you click on the plus button, then you can now manage it. So if you see now, they've already told you what you can do there. You can see the skills that it had. I think I mentioned that it was just about 15, but now they have 31. So it's important to note that. And then we can also see the tools that they have. So you can see QuickBook, PayPal, and the rest of them. Even they have Stripe and Square in there. If we open this up as well, we can see the different types of skill, which are specialists for the different tasks you carry out as a business. And then we can click on this so that we can have an idea of how it looks. So we clicked on manage there, and then it brought us here. So we can see the different things we can do there. So, and what I like about this is the fact that you can also see what each skill does at first glance. You don't need to try it first before you get to know what it is. So once you see this, you can just click on it, and then it brings you to the details. And if you want to add more functions to each of the skill, you can also do that by just clicking on edit. And then maybe you have some things that are specific to the kind of business you do. You can add them to each of the skill. I already told you that a skill is a reusable instruction that you can use anytime. So if you find yourself doing a task two, three times, and you've been able to do it with Claude, you can turn that conversation you had with Claude into a skill that you can use anytime you want. And you can just explore and see what exists here for you to now make use of as a business. So let's say you want to use the small business plugin now that you have. All you need to do is to write your instruction here, and then you click on this plus button, click on plugin, and then you come here and choose any of the tasks you want it to carry out for you. As you can see, the lead triage is there, job post builder, invoice chaser, all those ones we saw earlier. So this is how you do it. Let's say you want to build a job post, you select it. So now that you've done this, you can just say, can you create a job post for a virtual, let's say for a virtual assistant. And then immediately it starts to do the work the way it does it. If you check my previous videos on co-work, you'd understand how it works. So because it already has a skill that has the details of how it should carry out its task, it will use the instructions in that skill to carry out this job post creation task. Now you can see the questions it's asking me so that it can tailor the job creation to what exactly it is I want. So after I filled this and I click continue, it will build the full hiring packet for me. And then it's asking me how I want the offer letter to be delivered. See, it's asking if we should use DocuSign because it is one of the connectors that are available there. So that's just one use case. Another use case could be you using the lead triager skill that exists there to triage your inbound leads that you receive. So, and I know that triaging inbound leads is something that almost every small business owner or service business struggle with. So let's say you have a bunch of inbound leads and you want to be able to sort them out. Claude can actually do that for you using the lead triader skill that it has already. So one thing nobody is talking about is that Anthropic also dropped a completely free AI Fluency course along with this launch. And it is at anthropic.skillja/AI Fluency for small businesses. You'd see the link in the description. It teaches the 4D framework: delegation, description, discernment, and diligence. So they built it along with PayPal and some other small businesses, and it was built specifically for non-technical owners. So if you're new to Claude or you've been chatting with it but you have not been getting structured results, you can do that course before you touch the workflows. It will save you a month of trial and error using the tool. If I were a consultant or a coach watching this who has never used Claude before, here is exactly what I would do this week. 3 steps. One, I would sign up for Claude Pro Plan. It's just about £17 a month. Step two, I would enable co-work. It's included in the Pro Plan. And then step three, I would connect one tool, not all eight, but just one. So I would look at that task that has been causing me the most pain. For most of you, that could be Gmail or QuickBooks. I would connect it and then run one skill against it. Maybe the invoice chaser if it is QuickBooks, or it could be lead triager if it is HubSpot or Gmail. That's it. Don't try to automate your whole business in week one. Pick one painful job, automate it, prove the value to yourself, and then expand. That's how this works. This is probably the best time to be a non technical small business owner because the labor gap between you and a big agency just shrank dramatically. If you found this useful, like and subscribe. I post how to videos and client builds every week for non technical operators. And if you want me to build this for your business as well, use the link in the description to book a call with me. See you in the next one.